Good afternoon. We're back again. So today we will be giving you some insight into the subject matter, how to get into the music industry, which is the most complex of questions that you could ever have, because the industry changes. Like, it doesn't even change every week or month or year now. It changes every minute. Like, technology has given us taken us on a whole new kind of cycle of change. I think it's really important to understand that. So before I introduce our panel of esteemed guests, I just wanted to start by just expressing to you my belief that there's never been a better time to be an independent music maker in the music industry, in the history of music, ever, ever, ever. However, it's never been more difficult time to make yourself heard, and more difficult time for you to make it make sense financially. So hopefully we're going to get some insight from these esteemed guests today on how you make your way in the industry, how you get started, and how you can sustain it even more so. Okay, my guests today are from the far end, from the right to the left. SCULLY, who's an A&R executive and consultant at Graduation Records and No Signal Radio. Next to him we got BAGSHAW from the collective, a DJ and event organizer. SHIAMA, my bad. SHIAMA Young, who is at PPL, the head of member services transformation, which sounds really exciting. Like I said, that's where the money goes. Some of it anyway. And last but not least, THEO Johnson, who's BBC One Extra. What's the name of the show again?
Just the THEO Johnson show on BBC One Extra.
Okay, just that. All right, fair enough. Who is the guy who's going to get your music out to the masses? And my name is Uncle Ade, and I am Senior Vice President of Artists and Business Development at a new tech startup called Groove Up, amongst other things. I also am a university lecturer and teach at the University of West London, Talyard Education, Confetti, and the SAE. And here we go with our first panel. Right, so I've got a bunch of questions which I hope you're all prepared for. Don't be too shy. What I would say first is, you don't have to answer every question. We'll move along as we get into it. And I'm really interested in what your thoughts are. But I'll start with this one, and that is, could you give us a quick summary of not just how you got into the industry as individuals, but what was your mindset when you came into the industry? How important has that mindset been in giving you an opportunity to shift the landscape as well as to make your mark? And we'll start at the far end this time around.
This is going to be really unhelpful and probably sound really obnoxious, but I just kind of decided, like I was saying earlier to Ade, that my parents wanted me to be a lawyer or do something like that, and I've really enjoyed music. Ironically, my dad was the one who forced me to learn an instrument growing up, and I really had fun doing it. I had an uncle who was a DJ who taught me how to DJ, and I'm really incensed by stuff that inspires me and that kind of makes me lock in and makes me want to be active, and music has been one of those things for me my entire life. So I just decided that that's where I should work. I was like, I don't want to go to work every day and come home and be like, I hate my job, I don't like it, or it's annoying, or all of this stuff. And I know times are going to be like that. I work in music now, and there's sometimes I come home and I'm like, wow, this is awful. But overall, I'm happy that I'm in music. And so that really was it. I was just like, okay, however I can figure out a life where I can be around the things that interest me, and that is like music and film and media and all of these things, that's what I'm gonna do. So I just started hanging out around these places, in these areas, like a bad smell. I just wouldn't leave, and eventually people noticed me and they're like, yeah, you need to, you know, you're passionate about this. At the very least, you're passionate and you'll stay, so come and work.
Cool. Jack, you're a specialist in DJ and making people move on the dance floor and stuff.
Yeah,
what made you decide to do that, and how was that? How have you progressed from the idea of being a DJ to actually playing in clubs around the world?
Yeah, so for me, obviously I grew up on a lot of multicultural music. So when I was like 13, I got into DJing through my cousin, because obviously I had a lot of passion for music, and from there I got a controller, started spinning, perfecting my craft, and it was more just about the love and the passion for me. And then from there, as I started graduating, I was doing like little house parties and stuff like that. That's how much I loved it. Any gig, I'd just take it, whether it was free money. 40 quid to me was like £1,000 when I was like 14, so I was gassed. And then when I got to 18, then it was just a case of just connect with people, enjoy myself, and just keep my head on. And as I say, if I can still just keep loving it, that's all I want to do. All I want to do really, in DJing. And from there, then I started connecting with people, getting into different events. I got into stuff like Commonwealth, Wireless, and it was all just through the passion and the love, just speaking to people and just enjoying myself really. So yeah, that's what I'd say. If you want to get into DJing, just enjoy yourself, just love it. So yeah.
Okay, I'm hearing love and passion a lot already. You already talked about how that's really important. The idea that you, and I think this needs to be put out there first of all, that actually when you have that kind of experience, it doesn't necessarily feel like work, right? But the work is done getting to the point where you can experience that. So I want to make sure that we qualify how much hard work and dedication goes into the point that you can get to that it doesn't feel like. Well, you have to be really good and really passionate at what you do to get to that point. So let's not make it sound like it's easy, because for us Nigerian folk, if our parents hear that, they'll be like, that's not a serious career, you can't do that, blah blah blah. So it is work. And again as well for you, it's really about, we spoke earlier on and you were talking about how you got into the work at PPL, but you started off in a creative capacity as an artist in a group, all that kind of stuff. And that one of the most important things for you is to ensure that other artists don't go through the same struggles, kind of thing. So speak on that for us.
I've always been passionate about music. I, from a very, very young age, wanted to be an artist. Showing my age, but, I wanted to be the Brandy and the Monica and all that sort of stuff. And just as part of that, I kept reading a lot about people like TLC and Tony Braxton, getting bad deals and not making money and all that sort of stuff. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I don't want that to happen to me, because, I'm going to blow up and I'm going to sign a contract and I'm going to do all these things. But I was like, I cannot be ripped off. So I just went to uni to do a music industry management course, because I always wanted to work in the industry. I just always did. And there was just no other industry for me. So I thought, let me learn about the business. Went to uni, moved to London, started working at PRS in sort of copyright and member services, where I am now at PPL. And then I've just had various different jobs in the sort of rights area, the rights landscape, just everything about, I just want to advocate for artists and make sure that artists are being paid and being properly reimbursed for their creative efforts. I'm just really, really, really passionate about that, which is why I now work as head of member transformation at PPL, because what can I do to make sure people get paid faster, more accurately, maximising royalties? That's all I think about, really. I just want people to get paid, because still to this day, people are just signing bad deals and not really understanding kind of where money can come from. There's money out there waiting for people, and not everybody signed up to PPL. Hint, hint.
Everyone today will leave here signed up for PPL.
If you're a performer.
Okay, good. So coming to you, Theo, again, you have had a very interesting journey into where you are now. Covered a lot of ground, production, acting. Yeah, and now a DJ on Radio 1 Extra, or a presenter, whatever way you want to call it. Tell us about how you got to where you are now, and what's important about what you do.
So I'll answer the last question first. I feel like what's important about what I do is now with 1 Extra, because we work with introducing, my show is the only show on 1 Extra where we handpick the music ourselves. So if you go to the BBC uploader and upload your tune as a new artist, I can guarantee you national radio play as long as the song is good. And I don't just decide that the song's good. I listen to it and my team listens to it. I have 2 producers and a main producer. We all sit down and listen to every music, and then we get to pick 30 tracks from new artists. You don't need 1 million views. You don't need to be signed by a record label. You don't need any clout. You just need a good track. You just need talent. So there's no bias as well. So you can be from Cardiff, Liverpool, Wales. You don't have to be from London. Obviously, I'm from Birmingham, so when I hear a little Birmingham voice, it's gonna help. You know what I'm saying? There's no bias though, but it's gonna help a little bit. But yeah, so that's what I do. What's important to artists who are in the audience and listening. I've played a few artists as well who are in the audience. So shout out you guys who have uploaded. But PPL is important as well, and I feel like it's good that she's here because I can get you played and she can get you paid. Do you know what I'm saying? But basically the journey that I've been on, it started with passion as well. Obviously there's coming from the hood, coming from Handsworth and Birmingham, as you can imagine, there's loads of wrong role models and there's loads of wrong paths you can walk down. And I just had the skill of learning from other people's behavior and learning from other people's mistakes. So when I was young, I'd see people doing crime and I'd be like, okay, so he goes missing every now and again, and obviously I don't want to go missing. And then I see that person and he's all battered and bruised, black eyes. I'm like, I don't really want battered. I don't want to be battered or bruised. And then it's just like, how do I become successful? How do I not have to look over my shoulder? How do I not stress out my mom? Like, everybody talks about caring about their family and their parents, but if you really care, what can you do to look after them rather than bring them into disarray, bring them into stress, have their doors being kicked off? So I was proper focused about finding another route and another path, because I just believe that something else must be possible and something else must give. And yeah, I started my journey with that head and just kept consistent. And really in this industry, what I've learned from all the things that I've done, you really do reap what you sow if you stay consistent. There's been times where things are low. I've gone and had to go to London and sleep on sofas and struggled. And when I felt like giving up, I just strive through, and then God would have sent me a hint. He will give me a small win and show me that I'm on the right path and I should keep going. And I know that all of you guys in the audience are getting them small wins, and you might feel like no one's watching, but you never know when you're going to get that call. So just keep going.
I think that's a great insight into mindset, and that's such an important part of the road to achieving what you set out for, whether or not you call that success or not. That's so important, so key to it. I was talking to somebody earlier on today about their son, who, thank you very much, who is actually stepping into the music industry and wants to know how to start. And I was saying that music industry, or in any industry where you are aspiring for greatness, let's use that term, where you're aspiring for greatness, it requires a specific type of mindset, but also a consistency. There's no excuses, no days off. That's the kind of mindset that you should have, and that was really articulated within all of these different panelists in terms of how they managed to break through the noise. It's such a competitive industry right now. It's such a competitive world, and it's changing rapidly. But that consistency and that mindset will overcome everything else, because you're going to take those knockbacks regularly. You're going to hear more no's than yeses, for sure. But the no's are not the reason for you to stop. They're the reason for you to go harder every time. Okay, moving on to my next question. We're going to start talking about tech a bit here, because we know it's such an important part. So the music industry is going through a rapid transition right now, largely due to technological advances. As practitioner of the industry and the different roles that you're in, what areas of the industry within its current state do you feel are primed for change, i.e., perhaps what would you like to see change through tech, or what do you think should be changed through tech? And let's start from Jack. Do you want to You want to answer that question first?
Yeah, so obviously technology is massive nowadays, and being a DJ is crazy. Like, obviously you got TikTok, and it's just, you can blow off anything, put anything up and you could blow. Instagram, same thing. It's dying down a bit with that sort of stuff now because of TikTok, but yeah. So also running a brand, as I said, a collective. I run this brand with a couple of my pals. Picking up bits and pieces off what I'm seeing, being able to actually show, you know, your art and stuff like that on social media, and getting, I guess, like a lot of content as well. A lot of content's good. You got to get as much content as you can. But as you say, you can't really stop with it either. So when you feel like you keep going too far, you just got to keep going. Keep striving to get stuff like that, and yeah, there's not too much really else I can say apart from just content on social media is massive these days, and for me, I'm still learning myself because I'm still early in my brand, and being a DJ, that's all I'm trying to do right now, just trying to pick up the pieces, learn, and get as much content as I can, and as I say, just enjoy myself with it, because I feel like sometimes as well, being a creative, you can deep it so much that you get in your own head and you start getting it's a bit of a strong word, but depressed about things, because you think, oh, look at this, look at that, they're doing more, they're doing this, but you just got to take little steps, piece by piece, and yeah, just keep striving for it really. If you really want it, you'll get it. So yeah.
Cool, brilliant. I'm going to suggest that you either use your phone or a pen and a piece of paper and make some notes on some keywords. We've heard passion, we've heard consistency, we've heard love, and we just heard several times the word brand. And those things are really important. So make some, even at the worst, make mental notes of them, because they're going to be very key to what you take away from today in terms of how you change your approach to the industry. So who wants to touch on tech? Who else wants to talk about that? Yeah? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can talk about it because in my role as Head of Member Services Transformation, the transformation part of that is just constantly thinking about what we can do better as a company to ensure that we are delivering what we're supposed to deliver to the best of our ability. So I am definitely constantly looking into improved automation with our processes so that we can. The thing is, the music industry, and when it comes to actually paying people, it is a lot of metadata. So there is so much data involved. My whole business is just run on millions and millions and millions of bits of data, whether it's repertoire data, member data, and so there is quite a lot going on in the industry to standardize that, because the problem with it, and we've got issues where, you know, you sign up to these sorts of companies, but your royalties may come a year later, or you have to wait for these things to happen, and we do want to advance into a stage where we can pay you more regularly. And I was talking to AD earlier about the advances on being able to pay royalties quicker as well, so you don't have to wait every 3 months or every 6 months to receive a royalty check, because that's how long it takes. And it could be, you know, you earn something or something's played last summer and you don't get paid for it until the next summer. That's kind of how things work. So technology is just really helping to standardize the data that we get into our system so we can use it better and we can pay you better and we can just be more accurate with everything. So again, maximizing what we pay to you, just making sure that it's accurate. But we have to work with globally. We've got to work with the world. We've got to work with all the different agencies and companies around the world to collect all of that data. So our company we want to bring in AI, but that's a bit of a double-edged sword, because not only AI is really great for workflows, increasing automation, making sure that these things can just be more accurate, but it's a bit, where do the rights lie? So my company's lobbying with the government to ensure that there are practices and there are sort of agreements in place to ensure that creators, even with the use of AI, are getting fairly compensated in some way. So it's AI, I love it for, helping my work, but I'm not sure if I love it for creators just yet. So I'm just trying to understand, and we're trying to just navigate through that. But technology, the advancements, to me, it's about data for me, and and the data is just so key to making sure that artists get paid properly.
Can I jump in?
1 second.
All right, go ahead.
Data and metadata, two other keywords for you to think about. Yeah, go ahead.
So what I'd say about AI and tech is I was always with the mentality of evolve or die, evolve or die. Anytime someone told me, oh, sorry, you gotta go to drama school, I was looking for a loophole and I was trying to do something and trying to just climb. So I started making my own films myself. When they started getting millions of views, all the drama schools started reaching out to me. So it's like, you just have to evolve and use everything what's thrown at you as, like they say with the lemons, you just make lemonade. So it's like, AI now, yeah, it might be scary. You might think, oh, people are ghostwriting and using computers, but at the same time, you can use AI to your advantage, because if I want a legal contract right now, you can go and chat GBT and say, type me up a legal contract. Back in the day, you would have had to reach out to solicitors, and then you'd have to find the correct solicitor for your field. So there's different types of solicitors. Obviously, there's criminal law, but then there's commercial. And then I know a criminal law one, and you might not know a commercial one, and then you go to a commercial one, and he bumps you and tells you it's going to be like £500 just because you don't know law and how much that document is supposed to cost. And he could have just printed it off. Do you know what I mean? So now you have that all accessible from your bedroom, as long as you have an iPhone or a smartphone, which most people have. So you just have to use these things to your advantage. Like, you can literally type into ChatGPT what the order successful artists do to make it, list it in 20 steps, and you will see a layout. You can literally type in things like that, you can literally type in what are the trending things to post all this month, the top 20 trending things, and it will list it out. Never in history have we had that. So when everyone's scared of something and runs away from it, run towards it and work it out. You got to know your enemy. So if this is the big bad wolf of 2024, research it, look into it, and see how you can use it to your advantage, because while everyone else is scared, you'll be growing with it, and that's all you have to do. I'll give you one last example. When I was on my age, I was on MySpace. Everyone was talking about Facebook. I was like, nah, I'm good. I've got MySpace. I got bare friends on MySpace. Facebook blew up. I was behind. I was late. So then when Instagram came around, I saw an email for Instagram, and I was late on the Facebook strike. So as soon as Instagram came, I said, I'm jumping on this straight away. And I ended up with over 100,000 followers because I was early, and I was looking into it, and I wasn't sleeping on it. And the same thing happened with TikTok. I knew, TikTok's coming. Everyone was comfortable on Instagram. I was warning people, TikTok is coming, and now TikTok's a great big thing. So it's like anything new that comes your way, try to just pull it in a headlock and use it to your advantage, because it's gonna come regardless. There's nothing you can do to control it.
Okay, did you want to speak on that?
Yeah, to continue on from that point, I think it's important to realize that technology is a tool, and I think when we talk about automation, we think about using technology a bit like Terminator. Like, you see Terminator, they invent this robot, and it comes and it takes over, and humans are obsolete. Like we want all of this AI and this ChatGPT to do our jobs for us, which is great, but then what do? Like, Theo's right in the sense that you got to use it. You have to use it and grow with it, as opposed to try and put it over there and let it do your job for you. Ade said earlier something about artistic intelligence. That's the only way you can move forward with this tech. I think if we allow all of these tools to try and, drain us of our creativity and us doing our best possible work, is quite scary. As somebody who works on both sides, like literally as a presenter and as an A&R, it can get distracting, especially on the label side, because within a lot of major labels, a lot of people just wait and look at data, like you're saying on TikTok. Oh, this song is moving really fast today, we're going to throw 100k at it. Oh, but what about this talented artist over here who's made this amazing song? Yeah, the song's really good, but it's only got 50 likes on Instagram, so there's no point going towards it. The data is showing that this is making people react. Do you get what I'm saying? There is a lack of intuitive use of these tools, and a lack of understanding and how we can use them to be better. I'd like to hope that as an A&R, if I see a song that is good, I can work out a way to combat the algorithm, or even use the algorithm to show people this song or to show people this content. If I write a film, I want the content and the algorithm to boost it. But you see it all the way in Hollywood. Like, a film can be good, but if it doesn't hit the right marketing points and it doesn't hit the right data points on your Instagrams, your TikToks and your Twitters, it can flop. It's mad. So don't be scared of technology, don't be scared of the future, but at the same time, don't let it define you. Be consistent, always go forward, make the best possible work you can, because you never know who's working and who's watching. And cool, in 2024, 50 likes might seem like nothing, but 50 people liked your work. That is a lot of people. Keep going and keep serving those people and keep pushing forward, and that will grow step by step, step by step. One day 50 becomes 55, 55 becomes 100, 100 becomes 150. I know people who, they might get like 50k, 100k streams on their Spotify. Now, in a major label, they'll say that's too little to sell out, to sign, to give a contract. But if you can get 100k people to stream your song, and you throw a show, and you can get literally 10% of those people to come, you fill the room with 1,000 people. Like, you're good. Like, you're actually good. So we need to learn, like, the worth and the value of these things and how we move beyond them. Like, yeah. Bit of a meandering answer, but I hope you understood it.
No. Round of applause for that. We'll take the questions later. Yeah, so write them down. Thank you. So we've jumped into AI a little bit earlier. We were talking about tech, but let's lean into that for a moment. My question was really, what ways are you utilizing AI in your workflow, and how has it advanced how you work? And I think you answered to some degree. I want to jump in though and first and say that we talk about AI as in artificial intelligence, but that's actually not actually correct. It's not artificial at all. It's actually just aggregated from all of the previous work and ideas and thinking that we've all done. So when we brand it wrongly, that's what scares people. Artificial intelligence, what do you mean? Robots are going to take over the world, when actually the intelligence all comes from aggregating everything. So if you use ChatGPT or Perplexity or any of those, you'll type in a prompt, ask it a question, and prompting is really important, by the way. Ask it a question, and it will come back with its suggestions alongside all of the sources that it's extracted that information from. So it actually has to have the information go in first. We're the creators of that information. So we, as the creators, will always be essential for that to be able to regurgitate it. And that's essentially what it's doing. It's just doing it super fast in a way that you could never do. So I think that's really important to do. So let's lean into that a little bit more.
Just on your point about you feeding it information, I think that's where my kind of, do I like it, do I not? So in terms of workflows, I think it's brilliant for work. I think it's brilliant for informing our workflows. We're trying to use AI to help us communicate with our members in a more tailored way. So we're feeding sort of the information, or it's a pilot at the moment, feeding information about our membership into a secure AI platform so that we, over the years we can, how do they like being communicated with? What do they respond to? We want to be able to, it's called Journey Builder. We want to be able to build journeys for specific segments of our membership so that we can actually communicate with them how they want to be communicated, rather than 145,000 members getting exactly the same thing. It doesn't work in practice. The bit that scares me is about the data mining, and we PPR lobbied against the government last year because they were going to allow people these AI platforms to data mine completely free, and that's where my problem is that I think AI is amazing as long as you're paying for the data that you are feeding into your systems, because that's not your data. Because as it was at the time, before we were like, no, they could have just got all the information from every source across the internet, you know, songs, people's works, people's books, anything, and then they develop and create, you know, other things out of it, and no one gets paid. Like, none of these original creators get paid, and that's where my problem is with it. But when it comes down in terms of workflows, making things faster, more seamless, streamlining things, I think it's brilliant for gathering information to help our business flow, definitely.
Scully, how is AI improving your ability to spot major new talent?
It's a double-edged sword for real. It's creating a bottleneck, I believe, in the industry, because like I said, everybody is trying to use a program in which they can see what's moving the fastest. So someone in here can drop a song, and let's say 8,000 people stream it in one day. There is a literal program in which people can see 8,000 people stream this straight away in release, and all the A&Rs will run towards it, and they'll be like, oh my goodness, this is moving really fast, we all need to sign it. And everybody starts chucking money at that one thing. And like I said, everything else that could be talented could be ignored. And there's a lot of beauty in the fact that you can find stuff from all over the world. I'm someone who's passionate about all sorts of music, like global music all over the world. So you can go, at work, we go and find acts from Brazil, or from India, we find acts from South Africa, like all of these places. And that's beautiful because we're able to empower artists from all these different regions purely by the fact that we're able to see the data. But in the same breath, we need to find a way of perhaps showing the worth to the shareholders and other people that, okay, cool, maybe this isn't moving as fast, but this is really good music. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, before I was in the industry, if somebody was really good, you sign them because their voice is just really good. It doesn't matter if they sold out their show. It doesn't really matter if they sold 1,000 CDs or 2 CDs. They're just really good and you like them. It's really interesting, yeah, because I came into the industry at a mad time. I feel like everybody who I spoke to when I was 22 and doing internships, yeah, I was like, how did you get this job? And they were like, yeah, so I was in the street team. I used to hang out flyers, and then I hung about for a bit, and then like they gave me a job making tea, and then I was here for like 5 years, and now I'm the head of the label. And like when I came into the industry, I was like, raw, that's not really how it's working. I'm like, yo, how do I get a job here? And they're like, yeah, you need to find out the hottest track, you need to find out the best. Come and scout for us for free for 4 years, and if you get one song that hits, then maybe you could just about get a junior role here on a freelance basis. And I was just like, raw, this is nuts. Like, but I think I've got brothers who are a lot younger than me. I'm 30 now, yeah. I've got a little brother who is 16, and I think he could potentially find it easier to work in A&R because he has a different understanding of the internet. So where I used to listen to like blogs and like search SoundCloud and that, he can go on TikTok and he can type in the right hashtags and find the music. He does it all the time. He sends me tunes all the time on TikTok. He's just like, yo, I think this is hard. This is me. I signed a song that my little brother found, and it went number 2 in the charts. Like he's very clocked on, and I think AI is, like I said before, it is a great tool. It's just about knowing the strengths and the weaknesses and making sure that we don't use it to kind of downplay ourselves artistically.
Did you give your little brother a little cut?
A card?
A cut.
Cut. Oh, yeah. No, he's living good, don't worry. No. He's alright.
Okay, so cool. We're going to move on a little bit and we'll come round to you in a while. So I want to talk about the idea of how you got your job in the industry, how you were able to navigate your way through, which is a challenging ocean, if you like. Now, you had a program during the pandemic, right, that actually kind of went viral, if you, for want of a better word. How did that come about, and was it by accident, or were you intentional in what you're doing, and how has that opened doors for you? So I think that's really important to show that ingenuity, that entrepreneurial mindset. How has that worked for you?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I work behind the scenes, but also I'm a presenter, and like the whole reason why I wear many different hats, right? So like I also DJ, I throw events, I do all of these things because my primary concern is just making sure good music is heard. And like I love culture. Like I love football, I love music, I love films, I like casting, I like so many parts of culture, and I just want to show people cool stuff. That's it. At the end of the day, I'm just a huge kid who wants to be like, hey, look at this is sick. Have you watched this film? Like, yo, like you would really like this, bro. You'd really like this. Oh, have you heard this song? This song's hard. Like, you would really like it, bro. Do you know about this player? He plays in Italy. He's in League 2, but trust me, he's gonna be sick one day. Like, that's all I want to do. I just want to show people cool things. And when the pandemic came around, obviously I was working at the BBC just a bit before, but I decided to go freelance because, funnily enough, the football presenting was going really well. I was at COP90, and then the pandemic hit, and I couldn't go and do all the stuff that we planned to do. The Euros were supposed to be that year. We couldn't do it. There was supposed to be like all of these cool football documentaries. I was supposed to work on this thing with everyone. I was like, this is it. I'm blown. I don't need to be at the Beebs anymore because I'm going to be this presenter. And then it didn't happen because of COVID, and I was just like, right, this is mad. Like, I've got nothing to do. I moved back into my parents' house because I was like, I'm not going to pay my rent because I don't know how I'm going to work. And me and a couple of my friends were sat around and we were just like, well, we still want to make stuff that we want to hear. Like, we want to turn on the radio and be able to hear the music that we want to hear and hear the content that we want to hear, and we want to have fun. And it wasn't necessarily about it blowing, it was just about it being the right thing. Like, the intention is always just to make the best possible product that you would be proud to listen back to, not necessarily that 3 billion people listen back to. That would be great, like, and it would pay the bills, but at the end of the day, are you going to be proud of what you made and what you listen back to in 20, 30, 40 years? So a lot of us just came together and we were all dotted around in our different bedrooms around different parts of the UK, just making radio for the fun of it, like just for the fun of it. And I remember on day one, I think we had something like 25 listeners. Like something like 5 weeks later, we had like 250k, and we were just like, what the hell? And then when we did WizKid Vibes, it went super viral, and we broke the servers of the website, and they were like, yeah, you guys need to go and get your own servers. You need to start paying for this because you're locking off everyone else who is trying to use this server cannot upload their own stuff because everyone is coming to listen to you. Like, Burna Boy was putting us on his Instagram, Popcorn was like, yeah, they're hard, like all of this. And it was like, it was an amazing feeling. But I'm a great believer in follow what you think is right, not what you think is going to be popular always, not in what you think is going to make the most money always. I've got a big fear of dying and looking back, not of actually dying, like we're going to die, innit? Everybody dies, innit? Like, people are afraid of that, but you should come to terms with it because it is a fact of life. You're going to die. My fear is dying and looking back on what I've done and being like, oh, I wish I didn't do that, or I wish I hadn't been scared to do that. Like, maybe if I had taken that jump. So if I feel like something is a good idea, I just want to jump into it. And if I feel like something isn't the right move, I'm not going to do it. I just want to be proud of all the work I've done. That's the only thing that really motivates me.
So you touched on a couple of really important things. I think everything that you said, I'd summarize it in saying that you found the gap in the market and you filled that gap, and I think that's really important to take away. Look for the gaps in the market. Do something that people aren't doing that you believe people want to hear and need. And I think, Theo, you had a very similar kind of breakthrough, the gap in the market. Talk about that.
Before I touch upon that, what I wanted to say was...
No, I'm joking.
Off the back of SCULLY real quick, it's like he mentions, obviously he's an A&R, and he mentions a lot about being signed, and I've got no beef with the labels at all, but I know what it feels like to be an artist because I'm an artist myself. I put my music in my films though, but I've had when you be around enough humans, you learn that we're not that different. We've all had the same thoughts, and I know as an artist you might think, oh, I'm sick. If I just had a feature with my man who's getting the views, I'd be gone. Or if I just got signed by a record label, I'd be gone. But what SCULLY said about them 50 people liking your thing is so important, because if you just build your community, you'll have longevity, and you can even form a cult following. And that's why Kendrick Lamar can disappear and come back and everybody loves him. There's a difference between getting signed and getting the clout and actually having some essence and having a cult following. And also, here's 3 scenarios for you, and real scenarios. I'm friends with Charlie Slough. He's a big DJ. He decided out of nowhere to pick up an artist and just push him like, this is my artist, this is his tune, pushed him out there. The tune got millions of views, of course. It was a good tune as well. Everybody's playing this tune, he's feeling it. That artist is on cloud 9, but Charlie Slough is still Charlie Slough. So now Charlie Slough's gone to Dubai and done his thing. He said to the artist, well, I've helped you, do your thing. The artist's tune had 1 million views. His next tune got 10k views. And you know what mental strain, and you know what pressure, and you know what pain you'll go through thinking that you're lit and you're getting 1 million views and you're that guy, and then you release a next tune by yourself and you realize all the buzz was someone else who built their name and built their journey. So that's one thing you don't want to have in your mind. So don't be thinking, oh yeah, if I just had a tune with him. Make sure you reach a certain level first and build your brand. The second scenario, label hits you, you get offered 250k record deal. You're thinking, yeah, it's lit, but you have to remember, some of that money's got to go to music videos. By that time, you're gonna have a manager. The manager takes 20% of everything. You might have a booking agent and all these things. Also, the tax man comes and wipes out 40%. After all of that, you've signed this deal. You don't own your music. You don't own your track. They tell you when you release. They tell you when you drop. Whilst there's a other guy who's looking at that person who's just been signed like he's so lucky, dropping every week, telling their audience, building their audience. And I've met a guy and he's moaning and he's like, oh, this guy's getting plugged, this guy's getting signed, this guy's on all the playlists. But he's built up his music slowly, and now it's 10 years in and he's getting like $5,000 a month just off streams. He's not known like that. He ain't getting millions of views, but his streams are all collated. Whereas the guy has been signed, got shelved, he's been through bare stress. Everybody thinks he's rich because he's plastered everywhere, but he's got no money, and now he's been dropped by the label and now he's struggling. So it's like, there's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. The grass ain't always greener. Build your brand and just work for yourself. And be careful of what you sign and make sure it's like the best thing to do. But sorry, what was you gonna ask me?
I'm not asking you again, sorry. No, so what I was asking is, how did you turn your viral moment into the version of you that we see now?
How I turned my viral moment into the version of what you see now is by ignoring the viral moment. Because as I said before, the industry has a memory of a goldfish. Like, I probably, like right now, I released a film and people be like, oh, you're that guy from that film. Before that, people was like, oh, you're that guy from One Extra. When I was 16, I landed a Channel 4 role. I've been on billboards for Adidas. I've done adverts. I've done different TV shows. People only remember or stop me and say, you're that guy from the last thing I did. So it's like, sometimes all the things you did don't matter. The viral moment that you had don't matter. It's about the consistency, because then first I had one person saying you're that guy from that. Now there's another person who's not interested in that, but they're interested in that. Now I've got over 100 people saying you're that guy from different things, and then you become that guy. And that's what you do when you build a brand. You might have a song that someone loves and someone else thinks it's trash. You make 10 more songs, then 10 different people might have a different opinion on it, and you make enough songs, then you become that guy. Anything you do in any field, in any job, all you have to do is be consistent, keep doing it. You'll get better and better, because with practice always makes perfect, and then you'll become that guy.
Consistency.
Yeah,
definitely. So I wanted to lean into something else that you said about the idea of not ending up where you started off. I think that's really important. If you knew my career journey, I started off as a scaffolder, and I wanted to be Luther Vandross. But anyway, that's a subject for another day. But I've gone on to have Grammy Awards with artists that I've producers that I've managed, and had singers that I've taught win MOBO Awards, BET Awards, etc., etc. And where I started isn't where I am by any stretch of the imagination. University lecture was nowhere near in my mind. And so I look at SHIAMA, my bad. You did say aid earlier on there.
Sorry.
So SHIAMA was talking about, you started off as a singer, and now you're talking about your department, which is the transformation department. Now that is a career transformation in itself, but how does that happen from your beginnings, how you got into the industry where you are now? How does that happen?
Growing up, I only ever wanted to be an artist. I only ever wanted to be a singer. That was the only thing in my... I go careers advisor and they tell me all sorts of stuff, and I'm like, nah, I'm going to be a singer. I don't care if you think that's airy-fairy. I do not care. So that was the only thing that was in my mind. That was all I wanted to do, and that was why I was so much wanted to work in the music industry. As I said earlier, I wanted to learn. I wanted to absorb everything about it. So when I moved to London, I joined a band as a singer, and we were together for 5 years, and we were really good. A local level band, but we were really good, and we had a lot of exposure. We did so much things, but it was kind of like I was traversing music business by day, and then, you know, studio sessions and gigging and stuff by night, and it was crazy. It was definitely crazy, but I loved it. We split up, my band, after 5 years, and a lot in stuff, but we split up, and I think my own personal anxiety made it difficult for me to kind of move on as a solo artist. So whereas I had kept my career in rights, so I was working at PRS for music at the time, and so me working for PRS, learning again everything about the industry, I just continued on that tangent, and I would definitely do singing on the side, but it stopped becoming the biggest career goal for me, and it was more about me understanding how I can actually be bigger in the industry. And then I just set my I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was working in relationship management with publishers, and that was kind of, I've never said I'm going to work in this area of the industry. Everything just kind of fell together. So me entering PRS to learn about everything to do with rights just led me on to work for a publisher. Then I worked for a software company that was less in the music industry, but we serviced the music industry. And then I, nearly 3 years ago, joined PPL as a project manager. Never done projects before. I'm not even... I don't even have a Prince 2 like some people will have, but they saw something in me, and that's all about transferable skills and how I put myself out there. I am a very, very, very focused individual when it comes to me wanting what I want for my career. So I'm thinking, if I'm not going to be a big singer, then I'm going to be a big exec. So I just said, it's one or the other. So then, 3 years ago, started in project management, very new to me, but I had developed skills to be able to do that. And then I was like, okay, so project management was very much about operations, because I knew every time I worked in a music company, I'd always be like, why are you doing things like that? Why is everything so manual? Like, why are you processing? But I didn't have the position to actually influence that change and to say, fix it. So now I'm in the position to lead the change and to actually make all these little stupid things we have in the industry that would just make everything so slow and everything. I can actually influence that change now. And so I just see myself as somebody who, I'm in the back, I'm in the back, I'm not in the front, I'm very much, the office life and stuff like that. But I know that I can have an influence on all of the creatives that I was and what I wanted. I may not do it now, but I still have a passion for all of everybody out there. You rappers, you performers, artists, just everybody. I have a very big passion for that. So I want to, and also as just a woman of colour as well, I want to be present at the top, quite frankly. So that's kind of what my aspirations are. I've got aspirations of being a COO. And then a CEO. Maybe not, might want to stop there. But, within 2 years, I was able to become a head of department because they saw something in me, and they saw my focus, and they saw my passion.
A round of applause for that. So I want to lean into that a little bit more on the idea. There's a key word in there, learning. That's really important. I think the other thing, though, you kind of was a throwaway subject, but I think manifestation is really important. And I would say that every single one on this stage has got to where they've gotten to because they've manifested it. Like, sort of, you don't do this apologetically. It's really not that. I think understanding that is really important. But let's go back to the learning for a second. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for the last 20 plus years, and I'm a glitch in the matrix. I feel that it's not necessarily the best way of being able to become the better version of yourself, unless, of course, the systems that they implement are working for you. So I'm just wondering, in terms of your roads in, whether or not you took any kind of music education along that pathway. So, Jack, if you want to give us an insight into how, if you did, how that impacted upon your progress.
To be honest with you, I've never really done too much education. Like, when I was very young, like year 7 times, I played a ukulele. That's a bit mad to say, but that was the first thing that got me into thinking, yo, like, I can do music live, and I enjoy playing live. From there, I didn't DJ at the time. When I was 13, 14, started a little, as you think you are, you think you can be a singer, you think you can be whatever. Me and my boy at the back, we started a little duo called Not High. He was like, you can be a singer. I'm like, no way is that happening. Started doing it, didn't work. So I got a controller, started DJing. And yeah, just went from there. First of all, like, I didn't really have a passion for DJing. It just come along. It was all football for me. That was me back a day. I was just love football, but it took a turn. And as soon as I started DJing, as I say, when I was young, I was doing these parties. I was just taking everything I could. And when I got to 18, it was kind of, as you say, as you two said, it's kind of like you brand yourself more. You think, you take a step back and think, what's best for me? Like, as a DJ, what do I play? Where do I want to go in the future? So I was like now I take certain sets, and it's got me to where I am now. Like, I'd never think of being on wireless, being on Commonwealth Games. Like, last week, I DJed for one of my favourite brands in Manchester with the likes of Meeks, Nems, artists like that. So it's just mad. As I say, as you said as well, manifestation, that's the biggest one for me, because you've just got to keep going and manifesting what you want to do. If you take that step back and pause and stuff like that, these days, it's no good, because you're going to come back and you're going to have nothing. As you say, it's the goldfish mentality. People just forget you instantly. There's so many people these days doing creative things and just falling off because they just don't have the passion for it too much, and then come back and they got nothing there. So I just think manifesting and keep taking the step by step, you'll get to where you want to get. And I just feel, personally, I feel lucky to have a passion for what I do. I speak to some people that don't have no passion. I think I'd hate to be that person. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether it's reading comic books or, you know, going home and watching podcasts, some people genuinely don't like doing anything. So I feel grateful to have a passion, being a DJ, because it's massive as well. And like, when I'm being on lineups with people that are not idolised, but I very much appreciate, and I listen to them and DJs and stuff like that, I'm so grateful for it. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it's wicked for me as well. I'm still in the type of, I'm up and coming, so I'm gradually getting further every week, every day, and yeah, just loving it.
That's really powerful, actually. Really powerful. There's a personal note for South, for everybody in there, that the fact that you've already found music and that you've been bitten by, like we say, I call it being blessed by the curse. The fact that you've got that and you care about something, you're already winning in life. That should spur you on. That alone should spur you on. So, but anyway, let me jump back in again. Do any of you else have any experience in music education? Have you gone that route at all, or? Okay.
I think I'll completely spiraled off from that as well.
No problem. No. You made the point very well. Go ahead, Scully.
I think people will be surprised to know that I'm like classically trained in instruments. Like, so when I was a kid, I got a strict Ugandan family, mum and dad. Well, I say strict, they were kind of really liberal, but also really strict. Like, they really wanted me to like do well in my education and like focus, and they're like, listen, you're a smart kid, like lock in and do stuff. Like I said, they wanted me to be a lawyer. Like, I've always been good at writing, and that was my like key into the industry. But my dad, when I was younger, he was like, you need to stay out of trouble, you need to pay attention to certain things. I think you should go and learn an instrument. So in school they had, you could go and learn anything. You could go learn the flute, you could learn the violin, all this stuff. And to piss my dad off, I picked the double bass because it was the biggest instrument. It was huge, so he'd have to come and get me in his car. Like, it was mad expensive, so he couldn't just go buy one. Like, I was actually just trying to, when I was deep it, I was actually just trying to piss him off. I was just like, surely he'll give up on this at some stage. But he's stubborn and I'm stubborn, so it just ended up that I kept playing it. Like, I just kept playing it, and eventually I got to like grade 7, grade 8. I got to like the final grades. I was like, oh, okay, like, I really enjoyed this. And it was sick because I discovered jazz through that. And if you know about the double bass, it's really easy to, so at grade 4 I went from the double bass to just the bass guitar. Like, you turn it on the side and it's now just the bass guitar. And like, through that I learned different types of music, because now I have a bass guitar and I'm turning on, remember like there used to be like this thing called music TV, and like there was music videos on the television like all the time. Like, there was like Channel U and there's Kerrang. They don't play music videos. Well, they're there, but like they don't. It's not like when I was a kid, yeah. Like, there was like MTV Bass, and you sat and you watched MTV Bass. Yeah, man, all day. I remember getting in trouble because they had the box, and I ordered all the Outkast songs. Like, I discovered Outkast, and I was like, these guys are hard. And I didn't know you had to pay. It just said ring this number, and you get the videos. And I remember I stayed at my cousin Peter's, and I just picked up the landline. I just kept calling like, yo, play this next Outkast song, play Prototype, yeah, play Roses. And the bill came, and he was like, what the hell, what's going on? Like, why is my bill like £400? And I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't know it just said call this number in it. Like, I didn't know it was money. But anyway, I've got the bass guitar now, and I'm watching all these videos, and I'm learning. I'm even putting on Kerrang, because I'm like, okay, well, I need to learn how to play this bass. Like, I need to, these lot, I'm trying to even remember some bands. It was like the Strokes, and like, I even remember when Arctic Monkeys dropped. Like, I liked them because they wore Reebok workouts. Like, I wore Reebok workouts, and I knew what they were talking about, because even though there are these like white guys, there are these white guys from Sheffield, from Ends, they were talking about, I'm running away from the cab driver at the weekend, and I'm trying to sneak into the pool hall. So I was like, oh, I get it. Like, I get it. Even though it's not my thing, I get it, because I'm running away from the cab driver. I sneak into the pool hall. So I'm sitting playing their music, like thinking, yeah, this is sick. And through that passion, like I said, like, I was just obsessed with playing music. So when I got to the end of school, and my parents were like, all right, cool, apply to universities, and you're going to do law, right? You're going to do law. You could be a lawyer, or you could be like, you could do whatever, like something to do with writing. You like writing, right? You're going to do that. And I was like, I kind of really like this music thing though. Like, the music thing's hard. And my dad was like, yeah, but like, what, are you going to go to uni and do music? And I was like, probably not. So I went and I did journalism, and the aim was to be a music writer. I started working for Vice, and I was writing about music, but by now I was like DJing. I was like, I'd stopped playing the guitar by this point. I was no longer like playing like for bands and that, because at the time, it's mad. There's like the composers now. Do you lot know about the composers? They're like a big session musicians, and they play with like Wizkid and like Pop, like all these artists, rappers. But like 14 years ago or whenever, there was no session musicians. Like, that wasn't a thing. So I was like, well, no one wants to see me play bass guitar, so I'll just allow that. I'll just DJ instead. Like, I started DJing. Like, it was just the easiest thing to do. And then like, once I'd finished uni, I say finished, I kind of just left. But once I'd left uni, my parents were like, yeah, so like, when's your graduation? And I was like, don't worry about that, because I got a job. I'm like, don't worry about that, I got a job though, like, I'm a music writer. And they're like, yeah, but like, you at uni? I was like, yeah, but don't worry about the graduation thing, like, it's fine, I'm working at Vice, like, I've done it, like, I made it, like. And they didn't really get it until like one day my face was in the newspaper, and like, I was on Channel 4 News for some radio stuff, and like, my mum was like, you should sit, to this day, my mum calls me, by the way, and she's like, you need to go back to uni and finish your degree. But they allow me a bit more, like, because they get it. Like, even my dad, he's dropped it. Like, he doesn't bring it up anymore, because he can see like, obviously he doesn't say it like this because he's like a 60-year-old man from Uganda, but he's basically saying you're doing your thing, innit? Like, he doesn't bring it up, and my mum will just say it like, if I'm like, oh mum, I want to do this, but I don't know how I'm going to do it, she's like, well, why don't you just go finish your degree? I'm like, mum, that has nothing to do with directing films in Hollywood. Like, I don't know. She's like, yeah, but maybe if you just do the degree, it will help. I'm like, no, don't worry about that. But yeah.
Okay, we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes time, and then we'll open up the floor for questions, so get yourselves ready for that. That was a little bit shady about the 60-year-old. What's wrong with being 60?
There's nothing wrong with him being 60. I'm just saying he doesn't say do your thing. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about what's wrong with being 60.
There's nothing. I can't wait till I'm 60. God willing. God willing, I make it that far. I'm just saying.
Okay, better.
Because my dad is a 60-year-old Ugandan man. He doesn't say do your thing. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do, and I'm a 60 Nigerian man. So, so I also want to say this though. You may not know this, but as a parent, if I've invested in you doing a double bass, then you've gone on to play the bass, and then you've gone on to have a music career, I'm taking that as a win. Thank you very much. Yeah. So your 60-year-old Ugandan dad is on a win right now. So could you also give us some insight into your music education and how that journey was important for you?
I'm an academic, and I always have been. So going to uni was never like a thought for me. I just knew I wanted to, not just to study, but I thought it was a great experience, right? Like, move away from home, get to do all these things. So yeah, I went to university to do a music industry management and studio production course. No, I am not a producer, and no, I do not know how to produce. But at the time I did. But so yeah, I went to uni to do a 3-year course. One of those years was in Miami as well, which was amazing. All of this is what kind of just made me want to do it, by the way. And just since my university course, I've had friends who've gone on to do masters and stuff like that. That level of further education kind of didn't speak to me. I wanted to get paid. I wanted to work. So when I wanted to kind of step up, I would always kind of look at my skills, because I look at things as skills being transferable, not just because you've done this one job, you have to just move up in that one field, which was why I was able to go from being an account manager to being a project manager and not having done that before, because I was able to display my way of thinking in my interview and stuff like that. But since then, you know, sometimes if I feel like I'm not skilled enough in something, there's a lot of kind of free online courses, particularly around the pandemic time that I was seeing. So, you know, you could do like a little 3-day course on, because I'm in operations now, so it's like operational this, that. So I just look for those sorts of things that I can do, because I'm somebody who needs the education to be quick and short and sharp rather than a whole 3 years or something like that. But I do love education. I love learning things all the time. And if it's going to help me in my career, then that's what I will do. I tried to learn an instrument. I have a piano that I've had for 16 years. Nah, honestly, can I play it? I've had a guitar since the pandemic. Can I play it? So maybe that side of it is a bit more difficult for me. But the academics.
Are you trying to read the music?
No, I'm trying to go on YouTube and learn, like, you know, I wanted to learn the way in which you would just learn a song, and then you would learn how to play that song, and you'd understand how to play that song, and then you can kind of develop in that way. So no, I never did it in a...
Start with 4 notes. That's easy. Just start with 4 notes.
When I first started learning the guitar, I learned Session 32 by Summer Walker, which I was so proud of. Can I do it today? No. It'll probably be easier for me to relearn it, but...
SHIAMA, just so that you know, the voice is the most complicated and complex instrument of all. So you already play an instrument.
That's very true, actually.
Thank you very much.
That is very true. Thank you, because I do forget that. I do.
So let me ask you this, just one more question on the education thing. What one piece of advice about education would you give your younger self?
I would say, do what's right for you. Education was right for me. My siblings, it wasn't right for them. They've gone on to flourish in their careers, whether it is a creative career or I well, I don't want to say normal, but you know, a career. My sister, she works in sort of like the business side of construction, and she's never been educated in those things, and she never went to university. It wasn't for her. So don't feel like you have to, because I think in the day and age that we are now, I don't think it's necessary. You just got to show your skills. You need to show that you are focused, that you can do this, and that you can, you know, show up for the job that you want to go for. You're having a degree or stuff like that. You know, if you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, these things are necessary. But doing a music industry course, is it necessary? Not 100%, but, because you do it. No, but it's not 100%.
Trying to get me out of a job.
I'm sorry, not 100%. You know, it works for some people, but not everybody is a classroom learner. So I would feel like if that's not you, don't feel like you have to go down that avenue. But that just means you have to absorb yourself. You need to understand your network, and that you need to network. You need to maybe try and find mentors. There are panels like this where you can meet people and speak to them, and maybe, you know, figure it out that way. Talk about what they do. AI. Go on ChatGPT. How do I become a sync license? Just think about it, and then think about the skills that you need for that. Not everything has to take you down the avenue of going to university if that's not what you want to do. But
that's what you'll tell your younger self. Well, will you tell your daughter that though, or your son? No, I'm just joking.
I don't know. I favor. I favor education, but it depends on what's my child.
No, but she did answer the question, because she said that
because it's for me. It's for me, and I think that I do. I feel like, and that's the thing. I think so. Say as a parent, I'm not going to force my child to do what I did just because I did it. If they don't display that type of avenue, if they want to do music and just go down that route and play an instrument, and if that's what they want to do, then I will support them in what they want to do. That
about the networking and the relationships, and that was a great segue into my next question, actually, which is about, and I want to open this out as a kind of a three-part in one, how you progress in the industry. How do you get to the point where the doors open for you? You have some important components of that, which are networking, mentorships, and internships. How did any of those help you, and how did these new aspiring artists get themselves into a situation where they can get a great mentor or whatever? Go ahead.
So in terms of my career, obviously loads of people have talent, but being able to communicate and being able to network has been the key most important thing in my whole career. Like literally, the reason I'm on One Extra right now is because I was just constantly DMing them like, yo, I've done this thing, or yo, I've done that thing, and I was just getting blanked, not knowing that the head of One Extra was watching and very impressed, but not telling me, and he just carried on watching me in silence. 4 years, like literally any accomplishment or achievement, I'll send it to 50 Cent, I'll send it to One Extra, I'll send it. Even still now, there's people in big positions, or they might Warner or anything. If I drop a film, I tag Warner, I tag Netflix, I tag all these things, because it just takes that one person. Right now I'm in talks with Kevin Hart Productions about my last film, just because I tagged every big American and one of the production companies reached out. So networking is so key, and it will bring you into rooms you wouldn't imagine. I met a UFC fighter, and I don't have nothing to do with UFC. It don't benefit me in any way. But he come over, he knew who I was, he was nice. I started speaking to him, we connected. Me and him are friends now. It turns out 50 Cent follows him because 50 Cent's into UFC. He couldn't get into Afro Nation because there was no tickets left. I'm a One Extra presenter. 50 Cent was headlining at Afro Nation. I said to my now friend, the UFC fighter, yo, do you want to go Afro Nation? And if you do, would you be able to get me in 50 Cent? He said, yeah, that's my guy. So I brought him in, and he got me in the room with 50 Cent. I spent the whole day with 50 Cent through networking, through having a friend who knows him. You're always one person away from the person you need to know, and you can only know that by being nice to everybody, being polite with everybody. Anytime someone comes up to you, if you get to a point where you built your brand and someone's fanning over you or a supporter, always ask what they do. Always talk to them, because you never know who that person is and what that person can do. What that person can do for you. But not only that, they might have been sent into your life for the karma, for you to build that karma by helping them. So always try to help everybody, because for me, when I was younger and when I was building, no one helped me, no one brought me through. And you can either have the crabs in a barrel mentality where I cut through now and I leave everybody in a lurch, or you can break the chains, break them society norms by helping others. Because if I say no one helped me and I cut through, the next person is going to say no one helped me and cut through. But if I say no one helped me but I'm helping, the next person is going to be like, I'm helped, so I'm helping. And then a new chain's formed of help. So always try to help others, build your karma, and someone will come. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So I just want to touch on one thing in particular, one point that comes out of that is, you talked about the radio position, your position as a radio DJ that got you the access to the festival, etc., etc. But you met the WWF guy, WWE guy on social media.
UFC, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Same difference. The point being here that there's no one place for networking. Social media is networking. Being in an open mic situation is networking. Being on a bus is an opportunity to network. Being on a plane is a great opportunity to network. So your networking should really never stop, because you never know when that next opportunity is coming to you. So as soon as we finish here, we'll have another networking component, and I expect the room to be a buzz afterwards. So who wants to continue on from where Theo just discussed? Go ahead.
Yeah, from obviously me being a DJ and whatever, just being in life. Networking is massive, absolutely massive. As you say, even being on a plane, whatever, events, always speak to people. I'm grateful for my parents to bring me up how I was. I feel like it's helped me along the way, being nice to people. No matter what, I always treat people how they treat me, exactly the same way. Obviously, don't be a pushover, never be that person. But I'm always trying to be nice to people. I'm always trying to, I'm never that guy that's going to just constantly talk about my life as well and stuff like that. So when I go to events, I always just have a natural conversation. Sometimes that can end up leading in, as I say, one time I'm speaking to this person, followed her on Instagram, she followed me back, met her at another event, connected. I haven't spoke to her for months now. Come back home from my normal job at work. It's a bit mad, I'm in the toilet, I'm on my phone looking at Instagram, get an email, she's like, I want to book you for the Commonwealth Games because I've heard your mixes, obviously, stuff like that. And I'm there like, what, you know what I mean, like, what the hell? Same as Wireless. Met another person, just randomly networking, left a good indication. It just goes from there. Personally, I think the best way to do it is just be nice, be kind to people, and just give them your essence, let them know what you're about, and it'll be the same thing. Do you know what I mean? That's from a DJ perspective. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Say something quickly.
Cool.
Just gonna say something quickly. Just we talk about networking. Your network is your net worth. That's just what it is. It's really important in the music industry, but coming from my perspective, it's not easy for everyone. Some people have bigger personalities, some people are more extroverted. So that is something that I always consider as well, because networking wasn't easy for me. But just always if it's not easy for you, just put yourself in the mind frame of being there is probably a lot of people in that room, even execs and stuff like that, who feel exactly how you feel if you don't like networking, or if it's not like a typical thing for you, or if you feel insecure or anxious or anything like that. There's many people in that room who feel the same way. So it's just about small steps. Just one person, go to an event, and if you know who's there, give yourself one person that you want to go and speak to, or you want to have a bit of time with, and just get to know a little bit about them before you speak to them, and just try and prepare yourself, because it's not easy for everyone. It doesn't come natural to everyone, but it is really important. It is.
And that's a really good point, because one of the things that we have to really acknowledge in the music industry in particular is imposter syndrome.
Yes.
So being able to cut through that and then be able to have the confidence to approach somebody you don't know, etc., etc. But again, it is really, really important. So does anybody else want to speak on the either the power of networking or what some advice that you would give in terms of how to maximize a networking opportunity?
I'll try and keep it brief because I know we've got to go quick, but all I would say is people won't always remember your name. They won't always remember where they know you from. They won't always remember what you do, but people always remember how you made them feel. So when you walk into a room, when you deal with people, wherever you are, just try and be your best possible version of yourself. Try and remember that everybody is just a human being. They're going through things in life, and you're also going through things in life. Some days I wake up and I'm just angry. Like everything is just making me mad. Like I'm just looking around thinking, yo, like everyone's stupid. Like you get them days where you think everyone's stupid. Like you're driving and someone tries to cut you off and and you're thinking, why are people so angry? But when I get to an event, when I've got something to do and I can't bring that in with me and take that out on anyone else, don't project your problems onto the world, and hopefully the world won't project their problems onto you. Just be a nice person. Like all these guys have said, like I've got so many opportunities in life just because somebody wanted to work with me because they're like, you were really nice. Like, I thought you were a really cool person. Like, when I was younger, I really wanted to direct, and I still do want to direct, but I worked as a runner. When I was at Vice, they put me as a runner on a music video, and I just made tea for everyone the whole day, and I was like, how are you? Is everyone all good? Can I help you? Can I carry some of your stuff? All of this. They're like, yeah, I'll do all of this. They were like, oh, we really like working with you at the end of the day. I get a call like 3 weeks later. They're like, yeah, we want you to work as assistant director on this Charlie XCX video because you were just like cool in it and you made everyone feel happy. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, but the person who put me on that video was like, see, that's all it is. It's just about making people feel comfortable and doing your best possible work, and then people will trust you. So just remember that when you go out to network, yeah, just be you. Try not to be overbearing, and it's not about what people can do for you. Because if you go out with the intention of trying to get stuff all the time, it's not always the best way. Sometimes you'll do too much.
Any questions? Come over to Tynesha.
Oh, you're going to hold it? Okay, thank you. I just wanted to thank everybody for this wonderful event. I only saw it yesterday and just booked my ticket straight away. If I'd have known sooner, I would have had this room probably filled twice over, because it's amazing. But my question is to Scully. You mentioned earlier about you can have music that's out there getting 8,000 followers, and you can have good music. So I just wonder what you mean by good music, because I remember I used to be a teacher, and I always used to say to the children, you've got to be good. Some kids got that and some kids didn't. So you had to tell them, you've got to sit nicely, you've got to listen, you've got to put your hand up to answer the question, you've got to break it down so they understood what being good looks like. So I'm just thinking, I think my music's good. I'm sure anybody here who's got music thinks their music's good. So how do you define good music? And I suppose I'm targeting you, but it'd be nice if you could all answer the question.
It's really hard because good is subjective, right? And yeah, it's tough because my job is to literally decide something is good and then tell someone else that they should pay money to hear it. But I think, first of all, trust your gut and be like, I think this is really good. This is the best product I can make it. But also trust other people. Like, you might have friends, you might have supporters, people around you who are like for example, if you're a producer, you might have other producer friends who might be like, oh, maybe if you move the snare here, or if you added this one sound, it might be great. You might have a friend who, they might not be officially at A&R, but they have a good ear. They listen to a lot of music and they've got good ideas on how they can help you progress. But
how do you decide what
how do I decide what is good?
Choosing, right? So
yeah.
How do you personally decide what is good? Because if we all submitted our music to you, how would you choose which one was good?
The pressure.
That is okay. That's an even harder question. Okay, so first of all, what you all need to know is that I have ADHD and I hyperfocus. So like in my 30 years on this planet, I've listened to so much music. So there is no definitive, I don't have a category. I can just listen to my boss laughs at it all the time because he's just like, you're so weird. Like he'll play a song and it'll be in the opening 2 bars. I'll be like, oh, this is it. And he's like, what? They haven't even started singing. I'm just like, no, but like you can hear the arrangement. And he's just like it's really unhelpful. I just know, innit? Like you just know. Like you hear something and you're like, it's the same way all of you in here, you know what a good song is to you. Like when you hear something, you're like, oh, this is amazing. I guess the difference is somebody pays me to gamble that somebody else might enjoy this music. But it's all about, I think for me it's a bit of a balance. Something that is popular doesn't necessarily mean it's good, and something being good doesn't mean it will be popular, but it doesn't mean that those two things are mutually exclusive. And sometimes you have to find a balance. Like you might have the most complex, well-arranged piece of music ever, but it's inaccessible. When I was a kid, yeah, you see like how Jack was saying he wanted to be a singer, yeah. When you're young, yeah, everyone thinks they can rap. I can rap. I thought I could rap. I like writing. I like words. I like writing and I like words, yeah. I read a lot. I stopped rapping because I sounded like I was trying to be in Black Star and I was 12 years old. And I was like, it's too many words, man. Like, nobody wants to hear this. Like, we're on the playground and I'm talking about, like, philosophies and trigonometries and all of this. And I'm 12 years old. I'm like, bro, even I don't want to hear this. Like, do you know what I mean? So, even though I knew, like, lyrically it was good and, like, I knew the words I was saying made sense, I was like, this isn't good because it's not nice to listen to. But I can go and listen to somebody else rap and, like, I'll give you an example. I really like Young Thug. Young Thug is not the most lyrical rapper of all time, but he knows the pocket to hit. Like the tone, the way he switches certain things when he raps is just so perfect to me. And like when I was 12 and trying to rap, I couldn't do that, but I knew what I wanted to sound like. So it's all about just trying to find that balance, really. Sorry, that's a nothing answer. You just know. You just have ears and you just feel it, innit? Music is about feeling.
I want to jump on the back of this and say, don't worry about what Scully or I think's good. Don't worry about what none of us think's good. You should be making music for you, music you love, music you want to listen to, and then you'll build your cult and your audience. Because if you start making the music that I want to listen to, then you're no longer you. Now you're trying to mold yourself to be something I want, and you should never do that. Never mold your talent, your craft, your skill for anybody. So yeah, there's generic things we can say. Obviously, you gotta be on beat. Having a nice voice helps. Picking the right beats, current beats helps. You have to follow the times, listen. So like what Scully was talking about is like the Young Thug thing. It's like, I get what he's saying. My favorite artist was Lil Wayne. He said loads of metaphors and similes. Krept and Conan followed that, but after them it's like some people don't like Krept and Conan because it goes over their head. They don't get it. They just want to hear A, B, C, E, F, G. And it's sad that we've got to this time, but it's very big bass, big beats, simplistic bars. And I know like people like Anyone the Wanderer, I know that even yourself, you probably had that battle where you have to dumb some things down because people are not getting it, because I can tell that you're a conscious rapper. So it's like you have to still make music for you, but have an ear for what the current sound is. But most importantly, never lose your essence. Like Jack said, never lose your essence and your vibe, and make music for you, man, and just enjoy yourself. If it's gonna happen and it's meant to happen, it will happen.
Amen to that.
I was going to say, I just think I don't work in A&R, but I think it's really important that there are some specialised A&Rs for different genres as well. So if you kind of know what genre you're in, like don't be trying to go to a hip-hop A&R if that's not your genre, because they're never going to pick up on you. So it's really good to kind of see what's out there. Like I hate comparison, but sometimes just who are you slightly similar to, and just try and see kind of what's their business around them, who A&Rs in that sort of arena and stuff like that. So you're targeting the right people, because you'll get a lot of no's if you're targeting the wrong people. And everybody's going to say music is subjective. That A&R could have had a bad day, won't like your song, and the next day he will. So he gave you the good advice. Do it for you.
Okay, next question. Don't be shy now. To the left, to the left.
Okay. So my question is, from the perspective of someone who wants to make money and wants to see everybody make money. So the way I understand money circulates is that the economy kind of feeds itself. With the way AI is developing, my experience of technology developments, I familiarize with like supermarkets. When they introduced self-service, a lot of people lost jobs. With the people that lost jobs, they ain't got money to reinvest back into the economy. So if we have something that's introduced that allows us to skip the role of looking for a lawyer who, you know, they gain their money off something and put it back into something else, what insights do you have for us to let us know where the money's going now? And not just to be at the top, but for everybody involved?
I think I want SHIAMA to answer that first. Yeah. Sorry.
Where is the money in this industry? The money can be slightly smaller because there's just more and more people to pay and to distribute to. So your payments become more and more micro, unfortunately, because there isn't, I wouldn't say there's necessarily more money out there. There is just a lot more artists. Particularly with PPL, we try and get more and more international money to pay to our artists, because we know that the UK, we grow our revenue year by year. We grow our distributions year by year. That's what we do really well. Like our last distribution in June, that was our biggest one yet. The one in December was the biggest one yet. So we're just hoping to continue on that tangent and pay more people. But our membership grows and we pay more. We pay more artists. So the money comes from live performance. I would say that's a big one, live performance. Record labels, I think somebody mentioned earlier how much is taken away from that before it gets to you. It happens if you sell massive amounts. I think in the streaming arena, which I got real problems with in terms of the revenue, again, micropayments. There is money from all the managers, all the business people. There's just so many areas where the money gets to first before you as an artist. I think I love independent artists. I don't work at record labels, so I can say that. But I feel as though there will be more and more, there is more revenue out there, but it grows at the same time as there's more artists. The market becomes crowded, and we have a long tail. We've got 145,000 members. We don't pay like a lot of them because, you know, they join up and they probably don't do anything after that. So we want to distribute more, but the artist has to kind of put that work in and just ensure that, you know, you are trying to capitalize on who you are as an artist and get those gigs and try and get radio play and things like that, so we can actually pay you correctly. And then it's knowing about all the different sources of income that you can have. PPL only pay performers and record labels. PRS pay composers, producers, you know, those sorts of things. It's understanding where the different royalty streams come from and really being aware of that. And ChatGPT can help you with that. What sources do I get paid from in the music industry? So that you understand what you should be signed up to and what can kind of like maximize your income, because we get frustrated at PPL that we probably have this little pocket of money that we cannot distribute to anyone because they're not a member yet, and we're just holding on to it, or we try and find them and be like, hey, become a member because we can distribute this to you. But generally, not everybody can become a millionaire from this, but people can make a good living if you know kind of what you need to sign up to and where that revenue is from. And, you know, places like PPL are key to that thing, so you can get consistent royalties.
Thank you.
Also, life creates natural balance with everything. So as I was saying, that's why I kept saying run towards it. I actually know for a fact right now there's an app that's being constructed, that's been put out for tests, that has used AI to help artists. It's tailored to artists, and it's using AI to help artists build their own engagement. And it's an app that's created, and they're going as far as they've reached out to me and a few other influencers, and they were thinking about creating some sort of game show or contest where whoever downloads and uploads the most for that year gets like 50 grand and then like can put that straight into their music. So they're working that out. Life will always create balance, and it's the same for the lawyer that I mentioned mentioned earlier, that lawyer now has access to ChatGPT himself. So when he's dealing with a tough case, and instead of going and whizzing through tons of paperwork, I don't know if you've ever watched Suits, but they would literally have to sit in offices and look through mad paperwork. They don't need to do that anymore, so it makes them a better lawyer. So again, they might have lost a job now because more people are using it to do the little nitty-gritty contracts. But remember, it's all prompts, so you're still going to need a lawyer for some things, or you might need him to finalize, and he might lose work there but gain work elsewhere, because now, instead of sitting in an office for 3 weeks on one job, he can use ChatGPT himself and do 10 jobs at the same time. So life will always create balance. So this, like I said, it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but focus on you, build your brand, don't be scared of nothing. It's gonna happen anyway. Just find a way to make it work for you.
Scully,
where is the money going? That is a very important question. That is an existential question. Everywhere the money is going, bro. Have you been to the hospital recently? Where's the money going, bro? Have you been to a dentist? Bro, where's the money going, bro? Everywhere the money is going, and they're not telling us where the money's going. It's weird, like, so I work for a label that is an independent label that is a 360 label. And when I say that, I don't mean 360 contracts, don't get scared. I mean, it does distribution, and then it does regular deals, and it does joint ventures. So 50-50, 70-30s, 90-10. So you can get different splits. So you might want to distribute your music, you get 90% of it, we do 10%. You might want us to invest in something, you get 70-30. You might want us to go splits on business, so maybe we give you a lot of money, but then the earnings are 50-50. And the reason why this label was created, the reason why I left my major to join this, is because I wanted a way that artists could have different ways of deciding how they want to get their money and how they want to work with the label. So it's not just so much standard major label, come here, we own your masters, and this is like, there needs to be different flexible way of working with artists. It's ironic because now I know that everybody in the industry wants to fire everybody else. All the marketing people, they want to get fired. Well, they don't want to get fired. The bosses want them to be fired. All the A&Rs, they want them to be fired. I promise you right now, if every CEO, every major label could do every job via AI, they would. Just luckily enough, AI hasn't worked out how to listen to a song and tell you it's good. Like, it just hasn't got that capability yet. But when it does, Uncle Ade's gonna have to teach me how to scaffold, man. I'm gonna have to pivot, bro. I'm gonna have to pivot. It's techie out here. It's mad.
I'm done with that, son.
Damn. But nah, the money in life, none of us know where the money's going. That's above us. It's above all of us. I think it's above all of our tax brackets. All I would say is feels right. Focus on yourself. Yeah, do the best possible stuff you can do. I'm a big believer in that when you do good work, the blessings follow, and they come in multiple ways. Like I said, I quit my job in 2020 to be a presenter. We got faced with a global pandemic, and somehow that led to a next job that led to me making more money than I did the year before. But in March 2020, I was stressed. I was like, I've cracked it, I've ruined it. I'm gonna have to go back to uni, like Mum said. It's done. But thankfully that didn't happen, because I just wanted to go out and create good stuff. So you don't know where the money is, but if you make good stuff, the money will follow you. Don't follow the money.
And again, even with what SCULLY has said, balance will be created. Imagine a world, AI fires everyone. Do you know there's whole vegetarians that don't eat meat because they care about animals? So I'm sure in this world, there'll be people who blacklist and ban and don't listen to AI-made music to help people. And there'll be people versus AI. There'll be buildings with labels like the normal days with humans, and then there'll be AI. And some people will follow and just listen to AI, but some will rock with the humans and be the vegetarians in music. So don't worry, there'll be balance. Just do your thing, build your brand.
But even then, on that analogy, even then, vegetarians still want their food to look like meat.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody wants their music to sound like AI. I hope not. even AI doesn't want its music to sound like AI. So
the record labels do though. They don't care what it sounds like.
Hey, that's above my tax. That's what I'm fighting, man. It's crazy.
Okay, cool. So we are at the end of the panel. Unfortunately, we can't take any more questions because the questions you have been asked has been so complex that they've had to come up with really test them in terms of the answers. But before we go, I'd like you to give a round of applause to Scully, Jack Bagshaw, SHIAMA Young, and THEO Johnson, please. Last word from each of you, and give everybody your socials. How can they contact you?
I am Is That Scully, everybody, everywhere. Like any TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you want to go. Is That Scully. I branded myself from young.
So it's like, yo, is that Scully?
Yeah, that was literally, when I was 15, I thought, yo, I want to walk around and people be like, is that Scully? So I just made it everything. Isthatscully.com, it's all there, man. Like, that's where you can go find me. And my final word would be, do things in life that bring you joy and the people around you joy.
Yeah, my socials are Jack_Bagshaw with 3 W's, and my brand is just the collective, one word with a full stop. Got a lot of stuff coming up as well, so in Birmingham mostly, so come show love if you're about. And all I'd say is just push yourself, just fight your mind, do what you want to do and enjoy yourself, it'll all come, man.
I am so bad at social media, but my Instagram, the only thing I have is SHIAMA_Shy, S-H-I. But you'll find me on LinkedIn under my name. My final word would be just to, if you want to succeed, just be passionate about what you do. And for any creators out there, we have things like the PPL Momentum Fund. So if you want to tour, if you want to make music and you're struggling with the finances around that, there are opportunities to get funding if you would like that. So there are those things out there for you.
Most importantly, the BBC uploader is bbc.co.uk/introducing. Upload your song, make sure it's mean but clean, and you could be getting played on national radio. So BBC /introducing. That's the main and most important thing. Or you can go to your search engine, Google, and type in the BBC uploader. It will come up. It's free of charge. Put your song on there, it will come to me, and you could be getting played on national radio across the world. So that's the most important thing. My name's THEO Johnson. I'm on all social media, and yeah, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So work hard.
You're a fan of Conor Ben. You're a fan of Conor Ben, right?
I taught him everything he knows.
Fair enough. I'm Uncle Ade. I'm on social media as the Voice Coach UK, and my words of wisdom are for you. If you want the best the world has to offer, offer the world your best. Thank you very much. Now's your time to hustle them and question. Network, because network is your net worth. Amen to that. Thank you very much.